Hey, I'm Trey, and I have another sad story for you today. This story proves that anyone can be a victim from all walks of life, which is why we should all be vigilant when it comes to protecting ourselves and family. Please leave any comments that you have in the comments section, and don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and also the notification button so you can be reminded of new content that I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Well, let's get started. In the year of our Lord 2014, in the state of Barrio and in the country of Mexico, a deceased woman was found in a secluded area in a state of extreme decomposition. Police attempted to identify the woman with negative results due to a combination of things such as lack of trust for reporting crimes to the police and a lack of public records would hinder identification of many victims of various crimes. At the time, most victims like these would just be labeled as Jane Doe and pushed aside. An autopsy was completed and it was found that the victim had been violently raped, sodomized, and was found to have bruises upon her face and head. The medical examiner determined that the unidentified victim had been strangled to death. The Mexican police attempted to canvass the area and ask questions, but either they ran into non-cooperation from the community at large or lack of actual witnesses of the crime. It was later confirmed that the unidentified woman was actually a local sex worker. The case was eventually filed under cold case. Two additional unidentified women were found murdered in different locations, but within the same general area. Both women showed signs of being brutally beaten, raped, sodomized, and strangled to death, along with their bodies being dumped in various vacant lots. The two bodies were both found half naked with leaves sprinkled over their exposed vaginas and breasts. I think the killer was spreading leaves that he was actually smoking. The bodies seemed to have been staged this way for an unknown symbolic purpose. No further information was provided by the Mexican authorities. In April of 2015, in the country of Costa Rica now, and near the province of San Jose, a strong smell overwhelmed the area and made several local residents sick. The residents followed the smell that led them to a vacant parking lot in which they found the deceased body of a woman. The police responded and determined that the body was badly decomposed and initially unidentifiable. The woman had been beaten, raped, and strangled to death. For no identifiable reason, there were leaves purposely found sprinkled over the woman's vagina and her breast. There were no witnesses and no other deaths were found by the local police to attribute it to any type of pattern. This killer is some kind of special. He rapes, then murders the women, and he has sick fun with the bodies. What's the purpose of that? In June of the same year, another woman was found deceased. There was no initial signs of injuries during the find, so the police believed that the woman was homeless and died of natural causes. Now, when the autopsy was completed, it was determined that she had been strangled to death and sodomized post-mortem. You gotta be kidding me. The woman remained unidentified at the time. In July, another woman's body was found deceased in another vacant lot, stuffed under some bushes. She was known to the residents only as Carmona. Carmona was known to be homeless. The woman was also strangled and raped, much like the others, but with one difference. Her neck had been snapped and turned backwards. Basically, her head was totally turned around, broken to the point where it was facing backwards. I'm sorry, I think these killers believe that they get extra credit for being completely heartless. I actually can't see it any other way. No witnesses or leads were available at this time. Just 2 short weeks later, the body of another homeless woman was found hidden under a pedestrian bridge covered in big slabs of plywood. The victim's feet were protruding from underneath, which drew the attention of passerbyers who then notified the police. The woman was completely naked beneath her waist and was found to have several abrasions and lacerations around her legs and between her thighs. This is typically indicative of forced rape sign. After a closer inspection of the body, the female's head has shown signs of blunt trauma. The front and back of the skull was literally caved in. This was determined as the cause of death for the victim. The police were able to acquire some DNA from the victim and from some empty cans of beer that were found at the location. No witnesses were still available at the time. The following month, in August, the body of a recently deceased woman by the name of Sagrada Familia was found. The police responding and confirmed that it was another homicide, more than likely by the same killer. No further details about this murder were available. Adrian Gutierrez was born in 1967 in the country of Costa Rica. Adrian resided in the country of Mexico in the border town of Barrio. No youth or family dynamic was provided, but as an adult, Adrian was a scrap metal collector. He would use his own personal vehicle to drive around the city and local area to locate discarded scraps of metal and then in turn sell them to recycling sites. People that knew Adrian could attest that he was a seemingly normal guy who worked hard for his money. Adrian was known to be timid and was a go along, get along type of person. That means he didn't want any problems. He would typically just go with the flow. In the meantime, the police canvassed the area and spoke with all the sex workers and homeless persons living in these areas. A woman came forward and stated that she had been sodomized by an unknown man, but she managed to escape before being harmed any further. That same unidentified woman stated that she had not witnessed the actual murders of the 3 women, but she did notice the same man in the presence of each one of those victims. She was also able to provide the police with a sketch of the man she witnessed. The police, now being armed with a sketch and DNA that they collected from the last homicide, they were able to identify Adrian Gutierrez as the suspect. Adrian was brought into the police department for an interview, but became aggressively uncooperative with the authorities. After his apprehension, several women came forward and stated that he had raped them as well, but they were fortunate enough to escape before being harmed further. Costa Rican authorities charged Adrian with 6 murders and 2 rapes. He was tried, found guilty, and given a sentence of 110 years in prison. Adrian must complete at least 50 years before being eligible for parole. I got a little fun fact for you. Adrian Gutierrez was the first recorded serial killer in Costa Rican history. Well, I hope you enjoyed this story, so please hit the like button, subscribe, and also notification button so you can be reminded of new content that I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Please don't forget to leave your comments in the comments section because I really love to get some feedback. God bless and stay safe.